What if the people you are supposed to love are the greatest threat to your peace of mind? Blood may be thicker than water, but a Stoic king refuses to let anyone poison his own well. This is how you learn to rule your own inner kingdom, even amidst family chaos. Handle toxic family like a Stoic king, compiled and published by Stoic Dominion. Lesson 1. Recognize emotional manipulation tactics. Imagine a king who has a royal food taster. Before the king partakes of any meal, no matter how lovingly it is prepared or how familiar the cook, the taster must first sample the dish to detect any hidden poison. The taster is not disrespectful, he is wise. He understands that even in the most trusted environments, danger can be disguised as care. In our family relationships, we are the king, and our reason must become our royal taster. The inner conflict we face is profound and painful. We are served dishes of guilt, obligation, and veiled criticism, but they are presented to us on the platters of family and love. Our instinct is to consume them without question, because to refuse feels like a betrayal of the people we are biologically programmed to trust. The problem is that poison, even when served with a loving smile, is still poison. When we repeatedly swallow emotional manipulation disguised as family duty, we find our spirit growing sick, our energy depleted, and our own judgment clouded. We become weak and easily controlled, not because we lack love, but because we lack a vigilant taster for the subtle poisons of the human heart. The transformative solution is to train your mind to recognize emotional manipulation tactics with the calm discernment of a royal taster. This is not about becoming suspicious or cynical. It is about becoming wise. It is the practice of looking past the presentation of the dish and analyzing its actual ingredients. The core Stoic principle here is the supremacy of reason over passion and tradition. The Stoics taught that we must examine all impressions before we assent to them. Just because something is labeled family, duty, or love does not mean it is inherently good or healthy for our soul. A Stoic king applies his reason to everything, especially those things closest to him. He learns to identify the bitter taste of a guilt trip, the sourness of a passive-aggressive comment, or the cloying sweetness of conditional love. He does not need to throw the dish against the wall in anger. He simply, quietly, and firmly declines to consume the poison. To develop this vital skill of discernment, you must become a student of these common tactics. The first actionable step is to learn to identify the language of guilt. This often sounds like, "If you really loved us, you would." Or, "After all we've done for you, you can't even do this one thing." When you hear this formula, your internal taster should immediately raise a flag. Warning: guilt detected. The second step is to recognize the silent weapons, the dramatic sigh, the pointed silent treatment, or the intentional exclusion from conversation. These are nonverbal manipulations designed to punish you for a perceived transgression without the courage of a direct confrontation. The third step is to spot the veiled threat. This sounds like, "Well, I hope you'll still have time for your family now that you're so successful." A statement that is simultaneously a compliment and a warning. Simply naming these tactics in your own mind, that is a guilt trip. That is the silent treatment, is a powerful act that strips them of their mystical power over you. The benefits of recognizing these tactics are immediate and empowering. You will stop being a puppet to the unearned guilt and obligation that has likely governed your family interactions for years. You will begin to see the dynamics with a crystal clarity that is initially shocking, but ultimately liberating. You will no longer feel confused or crazy for feeling bad after a loving interaction, because you will understand the poison you are being served. You become the wise king who loves his family but loves his own integrity more. He can sit at the banquet table, but he will not be poisoned. Your practice is to reflect on one recent family interaction that left you feeling drained or guilty. Try to identify just one of the tactics that might have been at play. Seeing it clearly is the first step to becoming immune to it. Once you can recognize the manipulative tactics, the next step is to build the fortifications that prevent them from breaching your inner peace. This requires the strength to build and maintain clear boundaries. Next, we will explore how to strengthen your boundaries without feeling the very guilt they are designed to protect you from. To support our mission, please subscribe to Stoic Dominion. Lesson 2. Strengthen boundaries without guilt. Imagine your inner self. Your peace of mind is a sovereign kingdom. A healthy kingdom has clear, well-defined, and respected borders. These borders are not walls of aggression meant to keep everyone out. They are a calm, confident declaration of where your territory begins and ends. They are a sign of strength and self-respect. The inner conflict, especially with family, is that we are taught that a good family member should have no borders. Our territory should be completely open at all times. We feel that setting a boundary, saying no to a request, limiting our time, or refusing to engage in a toxic conversation is a selfish act, a betrayal of the family unit. The problem is that a kingdom without borders is not a kingdom at all. It is a territory to be endlessly plundered. When you have no boundaries, your time is not your own. Your energy is constantly drained by other people's dramas, and your emotional well-being is at the mercy of your family's most dysfunctional members. You are left feeling exhausted, resentful, and powerless. A ruler who has allowed his own kingdom to be overrun. The transformative solution is to strengthen your boundaries without guilt. This is the understanding that a boundary is not an act of rejection, but an act of self-preservation and profound self-respect. It is the most loving thing you can do for yourself, and paradoxically, for your family as well. The core Stoic principle at play is the virtue of justice, which must first be applied to oneself. You have a just duty to protect your own mind, your own peace, and your own purpose. It is not selfish, it is your primary responsibility. The guilt you feel when setting a boundary is often a conditioned response, a false alarm from a system that was programmed to believe that your needs are secondary. A Stoic king learns to thank that alarm for its concern, and then calmly ignore it, knowing that his duty to protect his own kingdom is a higher moral calling than the duty to please everyone. A clear boundary is a kindness. It teaches people how to treat you and what they can expect from you, which reduces conflict in the long run. To build these fortifications without being crippled by guilt, you must be methodical and resolute. The first actionable step is to start small. Do not start by trying to set a massive boundary with the most difficult family member. Start with a small, low-stakes boundary. This could be as simple as, "I can't talk on the phone right now, but I can call you back in an hour." Or, "I'm not going to discuss that topic anymore." A small victory builds confidence for larger ones. The second step is to remove the apology. Do not say, "I'm so sorry, but..." Apologizing implies you've done something wrong. You have not. State your boundary calmly and clearly. Your tone should be warm but firm, not aggressive or defensive. The third step is to pre-plan your guilt response. When the inevitable feeling of guilt arises after you set the boundary, have a rational mantra ready. I have a right to protect my peace. This feeling is a habit, not a fact. It will pass. Do not act on the guilt. The benefits of strengthening your boundaries are the benefits of reclaiming your own sovereignty. You will find your energy levels soaring as you stop the constant drain from toxic interactions. Your resentment will begin to dissolve, and you may find that you can engage with your family in a more positive way during the limited, structured time you now have with them. You will build a powerful sense of self-trust, knowing that you have the strength to protect yourself. You become the king who is beloved, not because he is endlessly permissive, but because his kingdom is a place of order, strength, and peace. His rules are clear, and his reign is just. Your practice is to identify one small boundary you need to set with a family member. Write down the exact non-apologetic phrase you will use. Rehearse it. And then, when the opportunity arises, deliver it with calm conviction. Setting boundaries is how we protect our kingdom from the outside. But the greatest battles are often fought within our own walls, against the pressure of the moment. Next, we will explore how to maintain your inner peace when you are directly under pressure. Please like this video if you are ready to fortify your own kingdom. Lesson 3. Maintain inner peace under pressure. Imagine a master watchmaker, his hands steady as he assembles the tiny, intricate gears of a complex timepiece. Outside his workshop, a violent thunderstorm rages. The wind howls, lightning flashes, and thunder shakes the very foundations of his building. An ordinary person would be distracted, startled by the noise, and anxious about the storm. But the master watchmaker remains completely absorbed in his delicate work. His focus is so total, his inner calm so profound that the external chaos becomes irrelevant. His peace is not dependent on a peaceful environment. It is a fortress he has built within himself. This is the inner conflict we face during a high-pressure family situation. A tense holiday dinner, a heated argument, or the delivery of bad news. We are in the midst of the thunderstorm. The chaos is external, but we allow it to become internal. The shouting, the tension, and the drama outside become our own inner state. We lose our center, our hands begin to shake, and we can no longer perform the delicate work of thinking clearly and responding wisely. We believe our inner peace is a fragile thing that can only exist when the world outside is calm. The transformative solution is to become the master watchmaker of your own soul, to learn to maintain inner peace under pressure. This is the art of building an inner citadel, a mental and spiritual fortress so strong that no external storm can breach its walls. The core Stoic idea is that the outside world has no power over your inner world unless you grant it permission. Events themselves are neutral. The thunderstorm is just weather. The family argument is just a series of sounds and gestures. They only gain the power to disturb you when you assent to the judgment that this is terrible, this is unbearable, or I can't handle this. A Stoic king trains himself to withhold that assent. He cultivates a portable peace, a sanctuary of calm that he can carry with him into any situation, no matter how chaotic. Building this inner citadel is the central work of a practical philosopher. The first actionable step is the practice of grounding. When you feel the pressure rising, bring your full attention to a physical sensation. Focus on the feeling of your feet flat on the floor or the texture of the chair you are sitting in. This simple act pulls your awareness out of the chaotic story in your head and anchors it in the calm reality of the present moment. The second step is to control your breathing. No one can be in a state of panic while breathing slowly and deeply. When the storm hits, your first priority is to consciously slow down your breath. Inhale for a count of 4, hold for a count of 4, exhale for a count of 6. This physiological act sends a powerful signal of safety to your entire nervous system. The third step is to have a calming inner command. This is a short phrase you can repeat silently to yourself. It could be, "This too shall pass," "I am the fortress," or "All is well within these walls." By consistently practicing these techniques, you will develop the superpower of unshakability. You will be able to sit in the middle of a family thunderstorm and remain an island of calm. This composure is not only a gift to yourself, it is a powerful influence on the entire dynamic. Your calm often de-escalates the tension around you. People will begin to see you as a source of strength and stability, the person who does not lose their head when everyone else is losing theirs. You become the master watchmaker, able to perform the delicate work of wise action even in the midst of the most violent storm. Your practice is to anticipate a potentially stressful situation this week. Before you enter it, take 60 seconds to practice your deep breathing and repeat your inner command. Enter the storm with your peace already activated. Maintaining inner peace requires a degree of separation from the chaos. To master this, we must learn the art of emotional detachment. Next, we will learn how to detach from family chaos without detaching from love. Please comment below with a calming mantra that resonates with you. Lesson 4. Detach from family chaos. Calmly. Picture yourself as the serene, majestic moon in the night sky. Below you, the ocean is a tempest of chaotic motion. The tides crash, the currents swirl, and storms churn the surface into a frenzy. The moon observes all of this. Its gentle light shines down on the chaos, but the moon itself is not disturbed. It does not get pulled into the ocean's frantic dance. It maintains its own calm, steady orbit, separate and serene. Its connection to the ocean is undeniable. It governs the very tides. but it is not a part of the ocean's turmoil. This is the inner conflict when dealing with family drama. We love our family, the ocean of our origin. We feel its pull. But when the storms of conflict, gossip, and anxiety begin to churn, we believe we have to dive into the waves. We get caught in the frantic currents, taking sides, absorbing the stress, and trying to control the uncontrollable chaos. The problem is that once you are in the water, you are no longer the moon. You are just another struggling wave. You lose your perspective, your peace, and your power to be a positive influence. The transformative solution is to learn to love your family like the moon loves the ocean, to detach from family chaos calmly. Detachment, in the Stoic sense, is not indifference. It is not about ceasing to love. It is the wisdom to love from a stable orbit, to refuse to be pulled into the turmoil of things you cannot control. The core principle here is the Stoic dichotomy of control, applied with surgical precision to family dynamics. You cannot control your mother's anxiety, your brother's bad decisions, or the ancient conflict between two of your relatives. These are their waves, their currents. Trying to control them will only lead to your own frustration and exhaustion. What you can control is your own inner state, your own orbit. Detachment is the act of taking full responsibility for your own inner peace and refusing to outsource it to the emotional state of your family members. To achieve this lunar perspective, you must practice a new way of interacting. The first actionable step is to become an observer, not a participant, in drama. When a dramatic or gossipy conversation starts, imagine you are an anthropologist studying the customs of a strange tribe. Listen with curiosity, but with no emotional investment. Do not add fuel to the fire with your own opinions or reactions. The second step is to learn to use non-committal, deflecting phrases. When you are being pulled into a conflict, you can say things like, "That sounds really difficult," or "I see that you're very upset about this." These phrases show empathy without taking sides or absorbing the emotional energy. The third step is to set physical boundaries on your time. It is easier to remain detached when you know you are only there for a limited duration. Give yourself permission to leave a chaotic situation, saying, "I love you all, but I need to head out now." The benefits of calm detachment are a profound sense of peace and freedom. You will be able to love your family members more genuinely because your love will no longer be conditional on them being peaceful or rational. You will preserve your own mental and emotional energy, which you can then use to be a genuinely helpful and stable presence when truly needed, rather than being constantly depleted by petty dramas. You will, like the moon, become a source of steady, quiet light in their lives, rather than just another part of the storm. Your practice is to enter your next family interaction with a single clear intention: I will be the moon. Observe the ocean of their dynamics, but remain in your own calm, steady orbit. Detachment allows us to maintain our peace. From that place of peace, we can then choose our actions with wisdom. This is the difference between reacting and responding. Next, we will explore how to respond to toxic behavior with unshakable composure. Please like and subscribe if you are ready to find your orbit. Lesson 5. Respond with composure, not reaction. Imagine a trained warrior and an untrained brawler are both struck by an opponent. The untrained brawler, driven by pure instinct and adrenaline, immediately reacts. He swings wildly, his face contorted in rage, his movements sloppy and inefficient. His reaction is a predictable, emotional explosion that his opponent can easily counter. The trained warrior, however, is different. He is struck, and in the fraction of a second that follows, he does not react. He responds. He feels the impact. He acknowledges the surge of adrenaline, but he remains internally still. He uses that moment to choose the most effective, strategic, and disciplined countermove. His action is not a chaotic explosion. It is a deliberate, composed, and powerful response. This is the inner conflict that determines our effectiveness in life. We are constantly being struck by the verbal jabs, the frustrating actions, and the triggered emotions of our family members. The untrained response is to react like the brawler, to immediately yell back, to defend our ego, to escalate the conflict with a surge of raw, uncontrolled emotion. The problem is that this reactive stance always makes things worse. It feeds the drama, gives away our power, and leaves us feeling foolish and out of control. The transformative solution is to become the trained warrior and learn to respond with composure, not reaction. This is the art of mastering the sacred pause between stimulus and response, a cornerstone of all advanced emotional work. A reaction is primal, automatic, and driven by the emotional brain. A response is chosen, deliberate, and guided by the rational mind. The core Stoic principle here is the discipline of assent. When a family member says something triggering, that is the initial impression. The brawler immediately assents to the impression that I have been attacked and must attack back. The warrior, however, withholds assent. He observes the impression and asks, what is the most virtuous and effective way to respond to this? He chooses his action from a place of clarity and purpose, not from a blind impulse. This ability to choose your response in any situation is the ultimate form of personal power. To develop the composure of a warrior, you must drill this discipline into your nervous system. The first actionable step is to make the strategic pause your default reflex. When triggered, your first action is always to do nothing. Breathe. Create a space. This is your moment to shift from brawler to warrior. The second step is to lower your voice and slow your speech. When others are escalating, you must consciously do the opposite. A calm tone and a deliberate pace are incredibly powerful tools for de-escalation and for maintaining your own composure. It forces you to think before you speak. The third step is to respond to the underlying emotion, not the attacking words. Instead of defending against the insult, you can say with calm observation, it sounds like you are feeling very angry right now. This often disarms the other person, as you are showing you see their pain, but you are refusing to engage in their fight. The benefits of mastering the composed response are immense. You will effectively shut down the cycles of drama and escalation that plague so many families. You will gain a reputation for being the calm, unshakable center, a person of immense emotional strength. You will preserve your energy and protect your inner peace, refusing to let others dictate your emotional state. You will become a master of navigating conflict, able to achieve your objectives without losing your dignity or your control. You are no longer the brawling reactor, but the composed warrior, whose every move is one of purpose and power. Your practice is to anticipate one person who typically triggers you. Decide in advance what your composed response will look like. What will you do with your breath, your voice, your words? Rehearse your victory. Responding with composure is how we defend our kingdom. But a true king doesn't just defend, he leads. Next, we will learn how to proactively lead conversations with Stoic clarity, steering them away from chaos and toward understanding. If you found this helpful, please like and share this video. Lesson 6. Lead conversations with Stoic clarity. Imagine a ship caught in a dense, disorienting fog. The crew is anxious and confused, unable to see the way forward. In this moment, they do not need a captain who will join them in their panic. They need a captain who can, with calm authority, take the helm, read the instruments they cannot see, and steer the ship with a clear and steady hand toward safe harbor. Many family conversations are like being lost in a dense fog. They are filled with circular arguments, unspoken resentments, emotional assumptions, and a general lack of clarity. The inner conflict is that we often just add to the fog. We get caught up in the confusion, we respond to emotional bait, and we contribute our own unclear, reactive statements to the general chaos. The problem is that a ship with no clear navigator will simply drift in circles or crash upon the rocks. When no one in a conversation is committed to clarity, the conversation is doomed to be a painful and unproductive exercise in frustration. The transformative solution is to decide to be the captain, to learn to lead conversations with Stoic clarity. This does not mean being domineering or controlling. It means taking on the responsibility of being the most rational, clear-headed, and focused person in the room. The core Stoic principle here is the application of logos, reason, and clear, ordered thought to the chaos of human interaction. A Stoic king knows that most conflict arises from misunderstanding and emotional confusion. Therefore, he sees it as his duty to be the agent of clarity. He acts as the ship's navigator, constantly using his instruments of logic and direct questioning to cut through the fog of emotion and steer the conversation toward a productive destination, or if that's not possible, toward a safe and peaceful conclusion. To become this masterful navigator, you must learn to use the tools of clarity. The first actionable step is the art of the clarifying question. When a conversation becomes vague or emotional, you can gently intervene with questions like, "Can you help me understand what you are specifically wanting me to do?" Or "What is the core issue here, as you see it?" These questions force a return to specifics and away from vague, emotional accusations. The second step is to practice summarizing. After someone has gone on a long, emotional tangent, you can steer the ship by calmly summarizing what you heard. So if I am understanding you correctly, you feel frustrated because of X, and you would like Y to happen. Is that accurate? This act of rational summary can instantly de-escalate a situation and bring clarity to the forefront. The third step is to state your own position with simple, clear, and unemotional language. Use I statements and focus on your own needs and boundaries without blame. I am not willing to discuss past grievances right now. I am willing to focus on finding a solution for this current issue. The benefits of leading with clarity are extraordinary. You will find that you can often steer conversations away from destructive arguments and towards mutual understanding, or at least a peaceful disagreement. You will become a person your family turns to in times of confusion, as they will subconsciously recognize you as the calm, clear-headed navigator. You will save yourself countless hours of participation in pointless, circular dramas. You become the captain who can guide the ship through any fog because his own mind is clear and his hand is steady on the wheel. Your practice is to go into your next challenging conversation with a single goal: to ask at least one clarifying question. Your job is not to win, but to understand. Leading with clarity is a form of power, but the ultimate power is not needing anything from those you are leading. This brings us to our final lesson. To be a true king, you must reclaim your power by detaching from the need for anyone's approval, even your family's. Please subscribe to Stoic Dominion to complete your training. Lesson 7. Reclaim power without seeking approval. Imagine a king who, despite wearing the crown and sitting on the throne, is deeply insecure. Before making any decree, he anxiously scans the faces of his courtiers, trying to gauge their reaction. He changes his laws based on which faction is applauding the loudest. He is terrified of their disapproval. Is this man truly a king? Or is he a prisoner on his own throne, a hostage to the opinions of those he is supposed to lead? This is the final and most profound inner conflict we face in our family dynamics. We may learn to set boundaries and speak with clarity, but we still harbor a deep, secret desire for our family's approval. We want them to understand us, to agree with us, and to applaud our choices. This desire for approval is the last golden chain that keeps us from being truly free. As long as our sense of being okay is dependent on their validation, they will always hold the ultimate power over our emotional state. We remain the insecure king, ruling only by their permission. The ultimate transformative solution is to reclaim your power by completely and utterly without seeking approval. This is the final abdication of a childish need and the full embrace of adult sovereignty. The core Stoic idea is that a person of true worth, a sage or a king, derives their validation entirely from within. Their self-esteem is based on a single metric: am I living in accordance with my own deeply held values and my rational understanding of virtue? If the answer is yes, then the applause or condemnation of the entire world, including their own family, is fundamentally irrelevant. It is like the noise of the wind to a mountain. This is not an act of arrogance. It is an act of profound self-trust. It is the understanding that you are the sole and final judge of your own character and your own life's path. This final step to sovereignty is a practice of radical internal alignment. The first actionable step is to make your own approval the most important approval. At the end of the day, review your actions and ask yourself, can I respect the man who did these things today? Am I proud of how I handled myself? This internal validation is the only one that truly matters. The second step is to practice making decisions, both small and large, based on your own reason and values, without consulting or informing family members whose approval you might seek. Get used to acting as a sovereign individual. The third step is to prepare yourself for the discomfort of disapproval. Visualize your family disagreeing with a choice you've made. Visualize them being upset or critical, and then visualize yourself remaining calm and centered in your decision, knowing that you have acted with integrity. This is the warrior's practice of building tolerance for emotional discomfort. The benefit of this final reclamation of power is true freedom. It is the breaking of the final chain. You will be able to love your family more purely and authentically, because your love will no longer be contaminated by a needy desire for their approval. You will be able to make the best decisions for your own life without being held back by the fear of their judgment. You will embody a deep, quiet, unshakable confidence that is profoundly powerful. You become the true Stoic king who rules his kingdom with wisdom and justice, not for the applause of the crowd, but because it is his duty and his honor to do so. His authority comes not from his crown, but from his character. Your final practice is a declaration. Make a commitment to yourself today that your own reasoned self-respect will be your highest authority. You are the king. The court's opinion is no longer binding. To handle your family like a Stoic king is not to become cold or distant. It is to love them from a position of unshakable inner strength, to protect your own peace with unbreakable boundaries, and to act with a clarity and composure that honors your own sovereign mind. Thank you for your dedication to this difficult but essential work. Building a peaceful inner kingdom is the noblest task a person can undertake, and it is the foundation of a life well lived. If this guide has provided you with value, please like the video, comment with the lesson that was most impactful for you, and subscribe to Stoic Dominion for more wisdom on the path to an unshakable life.